Welcome to our next interactive module. In this module, we're going to be creating a logical database or database implementation in Airtable. We're going to be doing exactly the same as we've done in Bubble, using our sort of e-commerce platform example. Again, what I've done is I've already created the category and product ones to make it a little bit quicker and save us some time. Now, straight away, you'll see that this probably resembles a spreadsheet a little more. It's a lot easier to work with data in Airtable compared to Bubble. But then again, Bubble is a whole development platform, whereas Airtable is essentially a lightweight database. Think of it as Excel on steroids, or almost like a Microsoft Access. You can, of course, create some interfaces and some workflows or automations, your business rules essentially. But it's not a fully fledged platform for developing a web app or a mobile app, for example. You may use it as part of your stack, as we talked about in the last module of getting started. So let's go ahead and create our customer table. So I'm going to start with a blank table. I am going to call it customer. And let's save that. So by default, it already gives me a bit of a structure. And what I'm going to do now, and this is the bit that goes back to the database theory around creating that primary key. You'll see if I double click here to change the name, it tells me that this is the table's primary field. The name is meant to be a short, unique representation of each record in your table. Now, I would stay away from creating this as the custom name. I would use an ID here. For the same reasons I talked about when we did the database modeling. So that, for example, if a customer changes the spelling of their name, it doesn't mess up your whole database where you've got a whole lot of tables and records linked. Now in Bubble, this primary field was created automatically. You'll remember when we set some of those data types and lookups, there was the unique ID field. In this case, in Airtable, we're going to have to do this ourselves. So I'm going to call this customer ID, and I'm going to take the same design approach for all of the tables. And what I'm going to do here is choose a data type called auto number. And what this does is that each time you add a record, it automatically creates a number. You can see 1, 2, and 3. So you don't have to worry about doing that. The database does it for you. If you are using something like MySQL or Microsoft SQL Server, you would have a similar type of data type. So let's go out and call this now customer name. We're going to just make that short text, single line text, customer name. We're going to call this customer, bear with me, customer address. And let's make this a long text field. And finally, customer date of birth, And let's make this a date field. Right, so we can choose the format there. 20th of November 23, that looks good. We're going to exclude time and exclude the time zone. All right, and that's our customer table done. So let's create some data here. John Snow, I think, was 1. The address was 12 Oak Street, Reading, United Kingdom. And the date of birth was the 1st of April 1978. Right, so that's done. Now, let's create the other one. It was Owen Farrell, a not so fictitious character, and the address was, I can't remember, 18 Birch Avenue, terrible typing, Avenue in Southampton, also United Kingdom, and the date of birth we won't worry about. So that's all saved. You can see here we've got a blank record in. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete that. And you can see what it's done is remove that. Now when I create a new one, you'll see it automatically assigns value 4 with value 3 gone forever. And we don't need to worry about that too much because that's all internal, sort of internal workings. So we can in fact delete that as well. So we've done our customer. Now let's go and create our order header. Add a blank table called order header. And again, we're going to call this order ID. This is going to be an auto number. And we're going to call this customer. So who is this order for? Now what I'll do, instead of choosing a data type, I'm going to say I want to link to another record. I want to link to customer. What Airtable is quite slick at doing is allowing you to create that many-to-many link almost, which can be quite complex, but we're going to switch that off and just say we want one customer per order. Now it's going to ask us which field we want to look up. So the lookup fields show data from linked records. Select specific fields from customer to add them as lookup fields in this table. So I'm going to choose customer name because that's the one I want to see. So you can see it's created customer and creates customer name. Now this one I'm going to repurpose to order date. I'm just going to make that date. And this one we could set to delivery address and automate that, but I'm just going to make this something like fast delivery just to keep things simple. And let's add, in this case it's a checkbox, which is a yes no. We called it a Boolean in the some of the conditional logic stuff, I think. And there we go. So that's our order header table. Now we are going to go and create our order detail table. And we're going to call this order detail RD. And we're again going to make this an auto increment number or auto number. But now what we need to do is we need to link this to the order header. So let's just call it order number. And that's going to link to another record. Order header. We don't want it to link to multiple header items. It's going to link to order ID. Okay. So we've got our two fields there. Now we're going to call this a product. Now remember, we have our product table already, so we don't want to create this just as a standard entry field. We want to link it again to another table, in this case our products table. We want to only do one at a time, and we're going to want to link it to we want to see product name, right? And then we're going to do product quantity, and we're going to make this a where is it, a number. All right, done. Right, so we've created all our data structures. We've got some customer data in here. Let's go ahead now and add an order. So you can see it's automatically created these already, but we're going to click on customer field. Now you can see Airtable gives us a plus. I'm going to click that and up comes a list of my customers. So if we hadn't created this concept of a normalized model, what we would have to do would be to type that customer data in again in this table, and we're going to get duplicate data, and there's going to be differences in customer spellings and all sorts of mishaps going to occur. it's just going to be ugly. So we're saying we want to process this order for Jon Snow. So you can see it's got the customer ID here and the customer name. We've not had to type that, it's just done a lookup. We're going to put the order date in, which is today, the 20th of November, 2023. And we are going to say we want fast delivery on this. Now, we're not going to do the order detail at this point in time because nothing exists there. We're going to jump into the order detail now. Now remember, when you design this in your user interface, it's basically going to look like an order form. So the user won't necessarily know that they're entering data into the header table and the detail table. They're just entering data into a form, and your database on the back end is doing all the work, as you can see here. So let's go into order detail. Again, we've got our auto numbering. So let's choose the order ID we're working with. So here we can see we've got our first order for Jon Snow, the order date, fast delivery, cracking. It automatically puts in our order ID. Now remember, we don't have an order name like we have a customer name, so that's going to be the same as that. Now we're going to go and do a lookup onto our product table, and you can see there all our products are listed. I've only got the one iPad. Let's add that, and let's add 3 of those again because it's Christmas, and we're done. Now of course we can't really order more because we don't have any other products. So let's jump back here quickly and create a product name called electric scooter, for example, and this is our super duper quick scooter. Product category, and because I've built the product category already, it's just going to do a lookup to our vehicles category. Now you can see actually it's telling me that this iPad has been ordered in this order. So automatically behind the scenes, Airtable is doing all of this stuff for us. So if we go now back to the order detail, and let's say we're also doing order number 1 for Jon Snow. Now product we want to, there we have the electric scooter. We're ordering one of those because they're pretty pricey, and we're done. So we could process this order now and it would all be good to go. What we can see now, interestingly enough, also if we go back to order header, I can see I've got my single order here for Jon Snow, order date of today, fast delivery, and I can see that it links to 2 lines in the order detail table as listed there. So I think while in Bubble it's a little bit hidden away, it's kind of a little bit black box when you think about the data model, although it does make things easier for you. Airtable probably gives you more of a feel for what a real database looks like. What I would say is experiment in Airtable a lot. You can build out a really good data model here. And in fact, you can use this as a data source for other platforms, other no-code platforms. So you can just connect, build your data model in here, and then use those platforms to build your front end and connect to Airtable. So that concludes our lesson in building out your data model in Airtable. I hope that's been easy to follow. Again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, post a note in the comments of the forum, drop me an email. Always happy to cover off any questions, and look forward to sharing more information with you shortly. Bye for now.